Monday, April 26, 2021, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at the current everything bubble, how the gold and silver bull market will not be a speculative mania. It will not be a bull market based on greed. It will be based on fear, while the current cryptocurrency altcoin frenzy is based on greed. And so is the paper market, the bond market, the stock market. It's all based on greed. There is a difference when the greedy paper bubble, the everything bubble, implodes. That's when gold and silver are going to start raging. That's when commodities are going to start going up. It's the fear of currency collapse that's going to trigger that. So today I'm going to look first at a very good YouTube channel. It's called Coffeezilla, very young guy. And he talks about scams, scam artists. He talks about cryptocurrencies. And then I want to look at a book that many of you probably know. It's called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds by Charles Mackay. I think it was written in the 1800s. And we're going to look at the South Sea bubble because they had their altcoins, so to speak, the South Sea bubbles. They're the mini bubbles, the alt bubbles. It wasn't just the South Sea company that was the bubble. There were a lot of other projects, a lot like what we have in cryptocurrencies right now. And some of you might say, oh, you're old, you don't know what you're talking about, you haven't looked into crypto, but I have. I started looking into Bitcoin probably in around 2011, 2012. I was even trading altcoins around 2012, 2013. Cryptsy was the exchange that I used. I think they went bust as well, or the guy who founded it was arrested or something. Fortunately, I never keep my cryptocurrencies, my altcoins, in an exchange for that long. I put them in my private wallet, or I convert it into fiat right away. I saw there's a Turkish exchange where the owner basically ran off with billions of dollars, whatever it was. So yeah, that's one lesson of cryptocurrency and altcoins. Never keep your coins in an exchange. Yes, use the exchange when you need it, but then after you finish, transfer your coins back to your private wallet, or yeah, make sure you get it out of the exchanges. So back in 2017, I had already started doing my videos. I was doing it for about a year and a half. I got contacted because I covered Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and I still think there's a space in the currency or monetary world for a Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies. So yes, back in 2017, around the middle of 2017, when we saw the first big move in Bitcoin from around 1,000 to 20,000, I was contacted by a lot of these altcoin projects, and I was a bit reluctant to do the videos. So the compromise I came to with these people and myself as well was that it was only going to be information about the project. I wasn't trying to tell people to buy it. I was just giving these projects airtime. Of course, I was discriminatory about the project, but I can tell you, most of them haven't gone anywhere. I still have some of the coins that I received. Sometimes they paid me a bit in those coins. I got rid of them maybe a year later, but they're pretty much worthless now. And yes, I was paid to do those informational videos, so I know what I'm talking about, and it's coming back. Again, every time you have a bull market in cryptocurrencies, there's a lot of money flowing around. It's very easy to start these projects, and the people who are late to the game, they want to buy the Safe Moon coin that's like worth, well, it has 5 zeros and then 1 decimal point, 5 zeros and 1. And Coffeezilla has made a video about that. It's called Safe Moon is Insane. And he shows a clip of this guy saying that if Safe Moon went to 1 cent, your $30 or $20 would be worth 200,000. And Coffeezilla rightly points out that if that were to happen, that means that Safe Moon would be worth $6 trillion. So that's the kind of euphoria, irrational exuberance. And that term, of course, was coined by Alan Greenspan during the dot-com bubble. And Coffeezilla mentions that. But apparently, recently, Alan Greenspan was speaking with Maria Bartiromo, and she asked him, don't you think there's a lot of irrational exuberance? And he said no. So Alan Greenspan is a weird human being. I mean, I don't know what his game is. If there ever was a time for him to call out on irrational exuberance, it would be now. But he doesn't. So I recommend you watch this video by Coffeezilla about Safe Moon. And the other thing as well, unfortunately, I was looking at the demographics yesterday of my video, and I wasn't even planning to do this video today. A lot of times, the ideas for my videos, they don't happen a day or two before. It's maybe sometimes a matter of hours or 24 hours before. And I saw that the bulk of my viewers are age 45 and above. Very little in terms of percentage are 18 to 25. So unfortunately, I think this speculative mania in the cryptocurrency is going to hurt a lot of young people. And I think the governments and the central banks are to blame. And you might say, well, they're old enough. They know well enough what they're doing. They're just gambling. Yes, that might be partly true. But I think the conditions for a speculative frenzy where young people and even older people are living off speculation like this are hoping to make it big, to buy a Lambo without really any constructive work, without really creating any value, without really putting effort in their lives. And by that I mean getting up early in the morning. And even if you're going to work for a big corporation, it's still, you get up early in the morning every day, you have discipline, you work hard, and you earn something, right? Or you could do it on your own as well, your own business. But this is different. This is like people making a fortune overnight and gambling. And I don't think it's going to end well. And why is this happening? Well, because the central banks and the governments, they've destroyed capitalism. They've destroyed the free market. They've destroyed the monetary system where, and the monetary system is very important in our, how can I say, modern, industrial, specialized society where people grow up, they learn a trade or they go to university and they become productive individuals. That's gone out the window because they've manipulated interest rates to zero. So at zero interest rates, it doesn't pay to save, it pays to borrow and speculate. And yes, it's destroyed good jobs in the West. It's destroyed, it's lumbered young people with a lot of debt because unless they get a lot of debt, they can't go to university to get a degree. Unless they get a lot of debt, they can't buy a house or an apartment to start their lives. It's all screwed up. And the reason it's screwed up is because it's a huge bubble. It's based on high asset prices, and the central bankers and the powers that be want to keep that inflated. And so they've got themselves to blame. And it was the same thing during the South Sea bubble. So this is the South Sea bubble part of this book. And this is what it says right in the beginning. The South Sea Company was originated by the celebrated Harley, Earl of Oxford in the year 1711 with the view of restoring public credit, which had suffered by the dismissal of the Whig ministry and of providing for the discharge of the Army and Navy debentures and the other parts of the floating debt amounting to nearly 10 millions sterling. A company of merchants at the time without a name took this debt upon themselves, and the government agreed to secure them for a certain period the interest of 6%, to provide for the interest amounting to £600,000 per annum. The duties upon wines, vinegar, India goods, wrought silks, tobacco, whale fins, and some other articles were rendered permanent. The monopoly of the trade of the South Sea was granted, and the company, being incorporated by Act of Parliament, assumed the title by which it has ever since been known. The minister took great credit to himself for his share in this transaction, and the scheme was always called by his flatterers the Earl of Oxford's masterpiece. So it started in 1711. The government had a problem as usual, too much debt, too much spending, just like now. So we've had this problem, I would say, for the last 100 years plus, especially in the UK. Too much debt. In the US, it's been since the 60s, I would say. So the solution has been even more debt. Take us off a sound money footing, even more debt. I mean, last year, even more debt. They've even started guaranteeing private companies like they did here. So that was why the South Sea Company bubble started. It was government. It wasn't the free market. And many people think this is a free market. And even though cryptocurrencies are not part of the government, it's not a government created thing, it's a symptom. The fact that we've got this bubble is a symptom of that. One interesting thing about reading history is that 10, 15 years ago, let's say, or even longer ago when I read this book and I read about the South Sea bubble, there were some details in there that I overlooked, didn't really think much about. But now with the crypto currency bubble, altcoins especially, and am I saying that Bitcoin is going to disappear? No, I think it could, as I said earlier, be something of value in the future. But I think 99.9% of all these altcoins, they're going to disappear. But I was looking at this book, I think last year, when things were picking up in cryptos. And there's a part about the South Sea bubble which I had forgotten about, and I think it's really relevant, especially for all these altcoins. And it's the projects that evolved around the South Sea Company. They weren't even the original company formed by the Earl of Oxford. And you look here on pages, let's say, 58 to page 63, and they've got list of bubbles. So these are all these companies that were started out, and their concept was based on the original South Sea Company. So it's the same thing with the altcoins. Their white paper and concepts are based on the blockchain, the original concept of Bitcoin. And there's just some really interesting examples here. I'll go through some of them. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's about, let's see, 86 of them listed here. There might have been more. It's like now there's over hundreds, if not thousands of altcoins, right? It says the following bubble companies were by the same order declared to be illegal and abolished accordingly. So the first one here is for the importation of Swedish iron. And yes, there was speculation in that company. For supplying London with sea coal, capital 3 million. So they're just trying to get your money, right? They're trying to raise all this capital for projects that really weren't that, they weren't revolutionary, but the thing is that psychologically everyone wanted to get into the game because they saw that the South Sea Company was doing really well. So they said, well, let's get this cheaper project. So there's one here for improving the art of making soap, for improving of gardens. And I can tell you honestly, a lot of the projects that I did informational videos for in 2017, they're just things that use blockchain to say, oh, we're going to improve that, we're going to decentralize that, we're going to make it more transparent, and we're going to, like, there's one, I forgot, I think it was Bcoin. They're supposed to decentralize Airbnb. For ensuring and increasing children's fortunes. Number 40, for carrying on a woolen manufacture in the north of England. For making Manchester stuffs of thread and cotton. I mean, it's just crazy. And all these projects got a lot of capital. Eventually, of course, they were made illegal. And the most interesting one was this one. And this is from page 55. A company for carrying on an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody to know what it is. So even, I mean, that's how crazy it was. Of course, that bubble burst, I think it was 1720, so just around 300 years ago. So the more things change, the more they become the same, as the old French saying goes. Unfortunately, for those who don't learn their history, they're always susceptible to repeat it. And so, yeah, that's why I think when gold and silver start really going up, or the currencies start collapsing, it will be based on fear, not on greed. And the fear on the other side of the coin will be the collapse of the currencies, the collapse of everything paper. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies, but I fear a lot of it. A lot of these altcoins, they're going to collapse, and it will be fear. There might be a little bit of a flow into the major cryptocurrencies, or Bitcoin is going to still retain some semblance of value. But a lot of these altcoins, I think people need to be careful with them. Yes, I have altcoins, but they're altcoins that I've actually earned through producing or making my videos and publishing them in a social media setting that is blockchain based, like Steam and Hive. And I've been doing it for over 4 or 5 years on these platforms, and it hasn't made me rich. It hasn't gone to the moon. So I think it's really, people need to do their homework. There's a lot of these meme coins, right? Like Dogecoin, now a Safe Moon, which is really ironic as a name, isn't it? Because to the moon is millennial slang for something going up a lot in value. So this coin says that, don't worry, it's a safe investment, even though it's going to go to the moon. We're going to get you there safely. But I think it's far from that. So I'd be careful. So let's look at the markets right now. It is 8:30 a.m. London. Look at boring gold and silver. I see cryptocurrencies. They dumped yesterday. I think Bitcoin went down to almost 45,000. Now it's up almost 8%. So easy come, easy go, cryptocurrencies. I see Dogecoin is up 5%. What else? Yeah, it's crazy just how these altcoins move. But yeah, what about gold and silver? Well, gold is at 1778, up just over $1. Range has been 1773 to 1783. Silver is down 5 cents, around 25.96. High's been 26.16, low 25.83. What about the stock market? The Dow future is up 35, S&P is up 1 point, the NASDAQ 100 future is down 7. The currencies, the pound is up just under 1/3% at 139.22. The euro is unchanged, 120.93. A dollar is down 1/8% versus the yen at 107.73. And the dollar is down slightly versus the yuan, Chinese yuan, at 648.40. High-grade copper up 1.3%. So let's have a look at this chart here, because I think we are near, we're near multi-year highs. This is the highest level since, well, 2011, 10-year highs copper is making here. So we're at 439 copper, just under 440. That has been the high. So 10-year highs, and we're only about 25 cents away from the all-time high in copper. So more symptoms of inflation through higher commodity prices, which is also negative for the dollar. Crude oil is down 1%, WTI at 61.45. And to finish off, the 10-year yield, that's unchanged at 157. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.